when God said He is the one. My name is Ruth. I'm a young African lady who loves the Lord with all my heart. I have always told God, I want to marry in your will, no matter what it takes. Marriage to me is a journey of purpose, not just emotions. So I prayed, fasted, and trusted God for direction. But nothing prepared me for what I was about to experience. It all began during one of my personal retreats. I had gone offline for 3 days to seek God's face concerning my future, especially in the area of marriage. That night, while I prayed earnestly, I had a clear revelation. I saw a man I had never met before, a white man. His face was bright, peaceful, and full of God's presence. I didn't understand what it meant until I heard a voice in the dream say, "This is your husband." I woke up confused. I brushed it off quickly. I even whispered, "This can't be from God." You see, no one in my family lives in the United Kingdom. No one in our church is white. We're all Nigerians. So how could God be telling me to marry someone from another country and another race? I deleted the thought from my heart. But guess what? The revelation came again. This time I saw the same man and I heard a name, Mark. I had never met any Mark before. Still, I didn't believe it. I kept saying, "God, please speak to me in a way I will understand. This must be my mind playing tricks." Little did I know that God had already spoken to Mark, the same white man I saw. He's a pastor in one of the well-known churches in the UK. God showed him my face and gave him my name in a vision. He started praying about it while I was busy rejecting the message. Even though I was running from the revelation, God was still speaking. One day during our women's prayer group, a sister walked up to me and said, "Ruth, I don't know how to say this, but I saw you in a dream. You were getting married to a white
man." I smiled politely, but inside I rolled my eyes. "Not again," I muttered to myself. "These people don't understand. I'm African, not some British girl." 2 weeks later, my close friend, the one who knows all my fears and dreams, told me the same thing. "Ruth, please don't be shocked, but I keep seeing you marrying a white pastor. I think God is trying to say something." That's when it started to sink in. Could it be that God is truly speaking? But my biggest struggle was not with the race or distance. It was telling my spiritual mentor. She's someone I respect deeply. I feared she would laugh at me or say I was being emotional. It took me weeks, but one day I gathered courage and told her everything. I expected her to frown or ask questions. Instead, she smiled and said gently, "It is very possible. Let me tell you how God showed me my own husband." That moment gave me peace, but the full acceptance was still a journey for me. I needed to let go of all the limits I had placed in my heart and trust God fully. After my mentor shared how God revealed her own husband, I felt encouraged. At least I wasn't alone, but deep inside me, fear still spoke loudly. What if my parents didn't believe me? What if my pastor thought I was making it up? And most importantly, how would I even meet this man? Someone I had never seen in real life? Those questions haunted me every day. But one morning, while I was sitting quietly, I heard a gentle voice in my spirit. "Go and pray. There's nothing the Lord cannot do." So I decided to drop all my fears at his feet. Every day I prayed, "Lord, if this is you, make a way. I don't know how, but you know how. Let it be clear. Remove my doubts, remove every obstacle, and let your will be done." 2 weeks passed. Then one night, after an intense prayer session, I fell asleep. The next morning, as I was checking my phone, I saw something unusual, a message request on Facebook Messenger. Normally, I ignore such requests, but something in my heart told me to open it. When I clicked, I saw a simple message. It was polite, respectful, but it felt like a question that needed an answer. Out of curiosity, I went to check the sender's profile. The moment I saw his face, my heart skipped a beat. This face, it looks familiar. I paused, I stared again, then it hit me. This was the exact face I had seen in my dream. I quickly went back to the message. It was short but clear. I decided to reply, and we started chatting. At first, it was just casual like normal friends, but the very next message he sent changed everything. He wrote, "Ruth, I don't want to stress you, but I must obey God. During my prayers, God told me you are my wife. He showed me your face clearly. and even gave me your full name, which I wrote down immediately. As to read his words, tears filled my eyes. This was the same man God had been showing me. At that moment, everything connected, the dreams, the confirmations, my mentor's encouragement.
We prayed together constantly. We prayed for clarity, for wisdom, and especially for our parents and my pastor, because I knew I couldn't move forward without their blessing. And you know what? God took over everything. My parents, who I feared might reject the idea, had peace in their hearts after we prayed. My pastor, who I thought would question it, said, if it is God's will, he will confirm it. And soon, even he had a deep conviction that this was from the Lord. After months of prayer, fasting, and deep communication, Mark said the words I never expected so soon. Ruth, I'm coming to Nigeria for us to wed. God has made the way clear. That's how a divine connection that seemed impossible in the natural became a testimony in the spiritual. When Mark told me he was coming to Nigeria for our wedding, my heart was overwhelmed with gratitude. I remembered those early days when I doubted God's voice. I remembered crying on my bed, asking him for clarity. And now the same God had gone ahead of us, softening hearts and clearing every obstacle. Before Mark arrived, we continued praying about every detail. Our prayer was simple. Lord, let this union glorify you. Take over the plans. Provide everything we need. Let this testimony bring souls to you. Finally, the day came. Mark landed in Nigeria, and it felt like a dream seeing him for the first time in person. He was exactly the same man God had shown me in my dreams, calm, humble, full of the presence of God. Meeting my parents was another miracle. My father, who I thought would resist, shook his hand with a smile. My mother, who is usually very cautious, said something that melted my heart. If this is truly from God, who are we to say no? We see peace in this. Even my pastor prayed with us and gave his full blessing, confirming once again that when it is God's will, it carries peace. After weeks of preparation, our wedding day finally arrived. It was a beautiful ceremony in my local church. My African family and friends were there, alongside some of Mark's close friends from the UK who came to witness the union. There were so many emotions, joy, tears, laughter. Everyone could feel that this was a divine arrangement, not an ordinary relationship. As we exchanged vows, I looked at Mark and thought, this is the man I once doubted. This is the same man God revealed to me. When the pastor pronounced us husband and wife, I knew we had just stepped into a new chapter of destiny. Our testimony has since encouraged so many people. Many young ladies in my church who once thought marriage must come from within their circle now understand that God is not limited by distance, race, or culture. Today, Mark and I are happily married, serving the Lord together. And every time I look at him, I'm reminded that when you trust God with your heart, he writes the best love stories. After our wedding, life felt like stepping into a new chapter of purpose. Mark and I moved to the UK after the marriage, but before I left Nigeria, I shared my testimony in church. Many young ladies were in tears because they had also been praying for God's will in marriage. I told them, don't limit God. His plan for you might not be in your local church, your country, or your culture. Just focus on him and he will surprise you. Today, Mark and I are not just husband and wife. We are partners in ministry. He pastors in one of the vibrant churches in the UK, and I serve alongside him, especially mentoring young women about purity, waiting on God, and building a deep relationship with him. We've seen how our testimony has unlocked faith in many hearts. Couples who were on the verge of giving up now believe again. Single ladies who thought time was passing them by now wait patiently in prayer. Even families who had doubts about intercultural marriages have seen that when God is at the center, culture cannot divide. Looking back, I realized the journey wasn't just about marriage. It was about learning to trust God completely, even when His plan didn't look like what I imagined. Now, whenever I hold the microphone to speak at women's conferences or mark preachers about trusting God's timing, we always say one thing. When God writes your love story, it's more beautiful than anything you could have scripted for yourself. And that will always be our song of gratitude.